Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com. It's time for our weekly Q&A. So we're live here right now on YouTube. So we've got lots of YouTube channel members in the comments, so let me know if you can hear me. So this happens every single week. We do a Q&A, sometimes live, sometimes pre-recorded. What we tend to do is all the questions are sent in advance for your Patreon and YouTube channels members. And also, if you are a YouTube channel member, you can also join in live in the live chat, and I'll be taking your questions right through the show. As per usual, I tend to jump into and do most of the pre-done questions in advance, jumping in and out between the live ones. So if you've got any questions, feel free to pop them in. Also, just as well, if you're not a member, you can become so to join in with a question, or you can use the super chat facility. All of this helps support the channel. It all just kind of helps pay the bills, do all the bits and pieces. So it's definitely just great to kind of have all of this content. And it just makes all amount of difference. Right. Okay, so I can see here we've got quite a few people in here already. So I can see we've got Dana, Frank, Knox Waves, we've got Matt, Baba Trolling, No, Ryan, we've got Steve. Yep, so hello to all of you. All right, let's jump into some of the first questions. Okay, so Manmoud asks, with a huge success Encanto has been, and the recent comments from Bob Chapek calling it their new franchise, which is most likely to happen, a sequel or a Disney Plus series in the future. Now, funny enough, I did do an interview with the director of Encanto just before the film came out, and you can find it on the YouTube channel. And I did actually ask him this, and they're very much open to continuing on the story. I suspect we're more likely maybe to see like some shorts like they did with Frozen for a while, and just kind of fill in the gap while they sort out what it is. I'd rather they don't rush into doing a sequel. I think a series is difficult in some ways because trying to work out what the story is. It might be easier for them to do a series. Seeing the huge success they've had on Disney Plus, I definitely think we're going to get some more adventures. But my gut kind of goes with maybe some shorts to begin with while they work out maybe a sequel. But I wouldn't rule out a Disney Plus series. I mean, the numbers that this film has been bringing in is pretty incredible. It's been definitely a great way of doing it. Knox Wave said, definitely loved Encanto to get a sequel. It was a fun film. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a great film. I mean, so many people have been loving Encanto. It's just been so popular on just on Disney Plus. I mean, in our Facebook group, and we've got a lot of members. I don't remember there being this much excitement about something on Disney Plus since pretty much since Baby Yoda popped up. There's a lot of people just loving it. I mean, going to the top of the charts. It's just been a huge hit. So I think it is, without a shadow of a doubt, they're going to be doing something with it. But I'm going to go with some shorts to begin with, just to kind of extend the characters a little bit, because I don't know where they can go from it now. But I mean, yeah, I mean, they got superpower, so they've definitely got a few more things to do with it. Connor asks, it's great to see some more international shows being released on Disney Plus around the world. Hopefully we get some more international shows. There's going to be a few dropping in March. We've got a few of the French series, including the Weekends, so the Weekend Family, also Parallels, plus an Italian series. Hopefully at some point shows like the South Korean, Rookie Cops and Grid are some ones to be coming back in. Jumping in here, Frank says, before Encanto took number 1 on Disney Plus trending charts, I predicted Ron's Gone Wrong would have been number 1. Oh, I never really thought Ron's Gone Wrong. I feel like that was a movie that it just is not kind of at that same level. I do think that Encanto, just once that hit the charts, I mean, it's just been so popular. And it was really down to Disney Plus of why that did so. Lego Ninjago Productions said, what are your top predictions in terms of announcements at the shareholders meeting on March the 9th, if there will be any? So usually at the annual shareholders, they do normally make a few announcements to kind of get the shareholders, the price to go up with the stock, because they're having votes and stuff. There's a lot of stuff on right now with some of the shareholders, especially park fans, who are trying to get Bob Chapek, and they're not like a vote of no confidence in that one. I don't think that one's going to go through, because I don't think they're going to have enough votes, because I feel like while fans are voting, there might be more people voting. It's the people with more shares. And right now, if you're a shareholder, stocks are going up, they've gone back up again, and business is going well. So on the sort of the business side of things, they're doing pretty well. As far as expectations, I feel like we're going to get something about some general entertainment, either a star announcement or an expansion of the hubs into the US and then internationally. I feel like we're on the verge of, if they were going to do an announcement about general entertainment, they need to plan. They need some kind of like idea of what's going on, because Bob Chapek said it at the quarterly results. He teased, it was like, oh yeah, it's going to be part of our future. They've dropped a few shows, but where's the long-term plan? What are people expecting? Where are they expecting to go? We're getting Free Guy in the US this week. Then we're going to be getting West Side Story. Well, where's all this stuff going to live in the Disney Plus hub? Because Blackish and West Side Story don't necessarily fit in the Disney one, so they're going to need somewhere to put these at some point. Things like Snowdrop. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if we ended up getting a star announcement for the US on March 9th. It could also be a good day maybe to announce, like, do it a different way of going, right, we're going to start adding more content. We're going to be starting off with the Marvel series from Netflix. We're going to put them on and really push that angle. I mean, I don't know if they're going to go the same way they did with the European launch of Star and like Canada, where they put a whole load of stuff on. They might trickle it through over a few months and kind of go with the more less edgy stuff to begin with and just generally just cruise it in. But I feel like there needs to be some kind of plan or announcements, because so far this year we've seen it with the live streaming, we've seen it with the talk about general entertainment, we've seen it with some of these shows like Blackish and stuff being revealed. I feel like we need some kind of outline of what's going on, and especially from shareholders' point of view. But I also wouldn't be at all surprised if they announce for shareholders they're going to be starting getting their dividends. They will start getting some money back each year because they had that suspended. There's probably going to be a few, maybe something to do with the theme parks or something like that. But there's definitely going to be something coming in there. Let's just see here. Matt says you think Stars will come out on the 23rd for the 1 year anniversary. I mean, that is this week. It's the 1 year anniversary. It would be nice, but sometimes anniversaries don't necessarily equal when to announce stuff. I feel like it would make a much bigger impact for stock prices just to wait a couple of weeks for that annual shareholder stuff. And also, they might not be able to do it this week if there is an issue with Netflix. That was a question that's coming up a little bit later on. Right, let's do a couple more before we jump into some live ones. Matt said, with all the international shows and movies on Disney Plus, what do you think of having an international collection on Disney Plus? Totally, I think that's a great idea. Put an international collection for all the originals in the hub. It makes total sense. As Mohammed asked there, that was one. I think I put that one already. Ryan says, do you think there'll be any surprise titles to pop up in March despite there being nothing listed? If so, what titles? Well, I feel like if you look at the last couple of months in the US, Disney has been sort of not announcing stuff. There's a lot of stuff not being announced. Pretty much like the February list pretty much doubled. If you look at it, like Snowdrop wasn't announced in it. You had Blackish, Grownish. You had all the ABC specials. The Wonder Years weren't announced. Some of the National Geographic content wasn't revealed. So I think they're doing like the mid-month drop is a little bit less, and then they do a little bit more on the first of the month, and then they drip feed a few more things in. But I'm really interested to see what they do with this general entertainment, because they've done nothing so far in terms of what's coming next. We don't know what. And that March list that got released had no general entertainment stuff in there, maybe West Side Story, but there wasn't a huge amount. Yes, it's definitely going to be an issue. Kayla put in here, I hope there's an expansion of hubs like 20th Century, Hotstar, Disney Nature. I don't necessarily think Disney Nature would get a hub, because I don't feel like they're creating enough content to justify it. But there was some talk at the Television Critics Association of an FX hub being added. So definitely could see that one being in there. And I think, Hotstar. I think the Hotstar one's a bit tricky. It depends on, they have to make a lot more announcements. But I definitely feel the 20th Century one would fit in. But if they do that, they can then do it internationally and just expand out that hub a lot. Or they're going to keep with this idea of maybe doing Star and then you have those hubs inside of Star. They might do it that way. That could be a way of doing it. Let's see here. We've got some other pre-done questions. But again, before, if you've got any live ones, feel free to pop them in. We'll be doing them after we've done a few more of these. So Stuart said, which ABC shows such as Big Sky, which are produced for linear TV but are distributed by Disney Plus, do you think Disney takes these viewing data on Disney Plus into account when it comes to renewing? I hope they do. I mean, I would hope that they would look at Disney Plus and think, right, it's doing really good on it. They are seeming to be doing that with Hulu, with how good shows are doing there. But also, we've had a lot of shows that we are getting here internationally on Disney Plus that have already been cancelled before we've even got them. I mean, we've had so many, they never even got a chance to kind of get an audience. So I don't think there's as much emphasis on what we're on, like international. I think it's still very much based on what the US is watching on some of these shows. There's probably part of it is in there, but I do think that they're maybe not looking at as much as we are hoping. Mammoud said, what do you think of the star tab appearing on the US sign-in website and they removed it? Do you think it was a mistake? Right, so this came up yesterday, so I'm going to bring this one up now. So I'm going to just get rid of the question there. So earlier on Friday, it was noticed that on Disney Plus in the US, on the main Disney Plus sign-in page, this image was put on. And here you can see that you had the star logo. Now, it's, you know, you can see here you got the Disney bundle and then you had this logo and right underneath. About just under 24 hours later, it was replaced with this generic one from a few years ago. Now, apparently, according to, if you look at like the history of the website on some websites, only a couple of days before it was like a Mulan one. So they've recently updated it. Now, this could have been, and I think this is probably very, very likely to be, it could be an innocent mistake where the person updating it has just literally put in the wrong image and put in an international one rather than a US one. Now, that makes the most sense. But why was this image being updated now? You know, there was no general reason to be, because the one they put in is very generic. So I'm very much in the line that this could have been something that's been done early and by mistake. But I still generally feel like this was probably more likely a mistake because, again, we really don't know what's going on with Star. I mean, I personally feel like Star would make a lot more sense to be added into Disney Plus in the US. Like now, start putting some stuff in there. Maybe they have to do a little launch or put some more in there, because then it's the same internationally. And get away from this whole confusion over what it is, how it works, what it does. And if Hulu's going to be around for a few more years and they want to get, you know, Disney, they're going to need somewhere to put all this general entertainment content. And maybe the Star brand is the way of doing it. So like I said, I'm not guaranteeing anything's going to be announced like this week for the anniversary or at the shareholders. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of an interesting one. Kelly said, I remember there's a page for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the Disney Plus US, but it's kind of hidden after signing in. Yeah, I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is definitely going to shift over because that was on Disney Plus even before Star launched. But you got to remember with these pages that get made, they get made for everywhere. And so what tends to happen is if you put in a movie or a TV series, it will find the page because it'll be somewhere on Google. So it doesn't necessarily mean you can, there's a whole load of pages in there, stuff that's not available. And that's not just in the US, that's pretty much everywhere how that works. Let's do some live questions and let's see what we've got in here. Steve says, when do you think we'll see American Horror Story seasons 1 to 8 and American Crime Story on Disney Plus? Internationally, I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's going to be maybe, I don't know, it could be March. I feel like it really depends on if there is a clause where they have to wait a couple of weeks or a month, or they're waiting to do some big announcement regarding all of this content. It is just strange there was nothing announced for any country. So it might not arrive till April. They might have to have it. They might not be allowed to do it straight away. You also asked, given the fact that the UK is getting the first 2 Alvin and the Chipmunks movies being added to Disney Plus, could we get the others? Depends if they're ready to go. Noel says he can't wait for Moon Knight and Doctor Strange. Yep, that does look really cool. That Moon Knight is so interesting for me because I really don't know much about that character. And Doctor Strange, that movie looks so great. Steve also asked, what Alien Predator movie would you say is your favorite? I'd say Aliens is my favorite Aliens movie. Predator, you can't really beat it. The original, they were just great. They were just great. Okay, so we've got a super chat here from Joey. Thank you very much for your support. So you asked, any idea when the FX deal with Fox Now binge ends? It's due to expire sometime early this year. So this one is it has been rolling on for a while. It was, I believe, the last time I heard, it was literally due to expire any given time now. But there's not really any end date online. I know I've gone through looking for information about Foxtel and when it's going, because this is the thing, is often they'll announce when the stuff is coming on, but they don't actually then announce when the contracts ends. They might say it's a multi-year deal, they might do something like that, but they don't necessarily do an end date. And it is really frustrating that they don't do this, and it's for everyone, it's like that. But it's definitely how this all works. But again, thank you very much for your support, Joey. It really makes a massive thing. Right. Okay, so we got another question here from Ryan. Any news on Comcast pulling its content from Hulu? So this was reported about just over a week ago that Comcast had in their contract when they signed with Disney back in 2019, they could pull their content from 2022, even though they've got like 2 more years on the contract, so they could do it. According to the Wall Street Journal, that is going to happen. Right. Stephen Bruce said, "Has Black Mirror got canal?" I don't know. It's cancelled. I don't really. To be honest, I've only watched a couple of episodes of that one. Let's see here. Dana said the Studio Hub could have all of the 20th century and Searchlight. I definitely feel like 20th century would be a nice, easy place to put a lot of this stuff in there. Let's see what else we've got here in the questions. Let's see what we've got here. Do you see Professor X being in Doctor Strange, or do you think it's Mistopho? I think it's Professor X. I mean, I've watched a few interviews with Patrick Stewart this week, and he was very coy about it all. Noel said apparently it's 200 days to the D23 Expo. Can't wait to see. It feels like it's been a long time coming for that one. Definitely feels like it's a long time coming. So Noel wants a Marvel panel. I think they're more likely going to do they'll probably just do a movie one. He also really wants United. He wants Star in the US. It's closer than it's ever been. It's closer than it's ever been. Also, thank you very much for Frank for becoming a new member. Thank you very much for your support. Barbara Trolling said, "Who is Disney fighting Netflix and HBO Max or Discovery Plus or Peacock?" Well, they're fighting with all of them. They're all fighting for our eyeballs and for our money. So they're doing that one. Matt says, well, all the Sony movie TV shows, do you think Disney Plus will have to add a general entertainment? Yeah, see, this is where the other side comes in. They're going to start getting access to this Sony stuff. So having Star is somewhere they can put this stuff out the way, away from the Disney brand. So it definitely feels like we're much further forward in how this was this time, like now, than we were like before Christmas. There's been a lot of movement in the US. And this whole thing about like, oh, they've got Hulu. Well, Bob's already said stuff's coming in, so it's just how they're going to do it. Knoxwave said, "How was your day?" It's been pretty good. I'll be honest. I tend to try and do a lot less on Sundays. It's kind of a day I try to have a bit of a break. We did watch No Exit, but I'll be doing my review of that on Friday. Frank said, "If I was head of Disney Plus, I would put as little as 10 to 18 plus movies and shows." What, you only put 10 on there? Is that all? Just to keep Comcast happy? See, I wouldn't care about Comcast. I would be wanting to build up I wouldn't be worrying about when you're in business, you don't really tend to care what your competitors say. I feel like generally, to me, I feel like with the US, they've got to go. I don't think they're going to follow the same path that Europe did. I think it might be a little bit slower, but I could be completely wrong. But if they want to, they could add in a load of comedies, a load of stuff, and Disney Plus could get a massive boost. And they can keep Hulu as like a paid advert version. Dana said we had a great podcast yesterday. It was good. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun recording that one. Right, let's see what else we've got here on the Knoxwave said, when do you think Boba Fett will get a season 2? Maybe in 2 months. Don't necessarily sure if he will do. I think He maybe could do, but I don't. He might just pop up in other series. I'm not sure if he's going to get a second season. The advantage with Marvel and Star Wars is they can keep making brand new shows and giving them new names, and they make it look like there's more content than there actually is. Because you could have, in some ways, Mandalorian, that could have just been Mandalorian season 3. If you call it something else and give it a little bit of a, I just feel like they can expand it a lot more. Dana said, I find it funny how we talked within the past few months about the Defenders show coming to Netflix, and now, things just keep changing. Things are moving along, and generally you sort of feel like sometimes that things move along, because of stuff coming out, little leaks, little issues and stuff. But there's definitely been a lot of stuff coming in. We did that one. So Steven says Paramount Plus got pushed back summer. Now they say they're a big stream. Yeah, they've done a lot of work the last few weeks of building up Paramount Plus, changing the name of the company, doing lots of stuff with just a load of shows. But the stock market didn't like what it saw. It wasn't not 100% keen on it. So there. Frank said, speaking of Ron's Gone Wrong, why is there no profile pictures of characters from Ron's Gone Wrong? Probably legal stuff. It could be legal stuff, or they just didn't think it was going to be as big. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and do some more previous done questions. Dana says, I haven't seen or heard anything, but is there any update on Comcast pulling its content? So no, they have agreed. Apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal, with the journalist who wrote the report, has said that that's happened, but there's been no public kind of press release or anything like that. Okay, it says this was I think it was on the Gizmodo website. Marvel's Defenders won't be arriving on Disney Plus right away due to a non-complete clause. How long that lasts, and does it apply to any other Disney? I think it's going to apply to everything, because there was nothing that's leaving Netflix wasn't revealed so far, and I definitely think there's some kind of non-complete clause in there that they can't push it over straight away. There's been a lot of speculation over what's happening with Disney with the Netflix shows. A lot of people just kind of, you've got a lot of people going, oh yeah, they're going to put it on Disney Plus because they want to build up the general entertainment, which is great. And then you got a lot of people going, no, it's going to go to Hulu because it's too mature. And it's like, if this had happened this time last year, it'd been a bit like, yeah, it's going to go to Hulu because Disney aren't going to do it to Disney Plus in the US. But we've heard so much stuff from the bosses that I think it is definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So Daniel asked a question about the Star one. So we've done that one already. Daniel also asked, with the Proud Family Loud and Proud coming out this month, what other Disney Channel shows would you like to see get a revival on Disney Plus? It's funny, really, because I don't really have the nostalgia over Disney Channel shows. Disney Channel was always kind of shoved in on like Sky movie package over here, and it didn't come out until like I was nearly in my 20s. It came out in the US like a decade before it came out here. So a lot of the things like I would consider like Disney shows like Chip and Dale, Darkwing Duck. We are getting a Chip and Dale revival. Maybe a Darkwing Duck one could be a lot of fun. We've already seen DuckTales, so that was what the Disney Afternoon collection was kind of like. They technically weren't even on in the afternoon for us here in the UK. So a lot of them, they've already kind of done them. All the deal with them, like things like Lizzie McGuire or Hannah Montana. I never grew up. I didn't grow up with those shows, so I don't have that nostalgia feeling. So I don't really have that feeling for any of that stuff. And it's just one of those things is like with the Hilary Duff, Lizzie McGuire. I'd never seen the show, so I didn't really have that feel for it. So I'd say Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers and DuckTales and Darkwing Duck, but we've already had 2 of the 3. So, yeah, a lot more to come. Connor says, do you see FX shows like Snowfall, Better Things, Mine MCs, and Atlanta airing their new seasons on Disney Plus in the UK? I've noticed seasons head to Disney Plus 12 months after dropping on iPlayer. So the iPlayer, the BBC contract is now kind of finished, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because we've not really seen anything yet. I know like Better Things and Atlanta, it doesn't look like they've been announced for the UK yet. I don't know if it's because Disney are holding back on some of these launches for later. to avoid confusion with Hulu. I don't know if that's been something that's come up as a bit of a problem that they've been getting. But yeah, we kind of, in some ways, we need one of these shows to drop so we can work out what's going on with the BBC contract. Because while they've had previous seasons, have they got all seasons going forward, or are they done? But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm waiting. We just, like I said, we just need one of them to break rank, and then we can see how this deal is going to work. Era said, any other deals you could see Disney doing soon, either getting content back or acquiring? My gut feeling right now is that Disney looked to be like trying to sort out its contracts. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if it's done something with HBO to get back its con. We've already seen them do a deal to get access. So whether or not their deal completely comes to an end at the end of next year or the end of this year, they've done a deal with Netflix to call back content. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they do a deal with like Stars, maybe, to claw back that content that they've got on there, or even just buy Stars. It might be a bit easier. I'd love them to kind of also sort out some of the other issues, like the Marvel Park stuff on Walt Disney World. Maybe try and get back Incredible. It just feels like right now, it's like just sort out all these little issues, because so many of these companies, they've all been merging and these acquisitions and stuff, and they haven't really got full control. I mean, I'd like them to sort out Indiana Jones with Paramount, things like that. Just kind of get these things back in touch would be great. Right, okay, so that's all our pre-done questions in advance, and now we're purely going to be just going through the live chat. So we've got around about 15 minutes left or so on the live chat. Okay, so Knoxwave 97. I read in Wikipedia that Mandalorian season 3 is expected to wrap filming in the next month. I'm pretty sure that they'll start filming the Ahsoka. Yeah, so they are pretty much doing Ahsoka right after that one. So that's definitely things going forward. Let's see what else here we've got here. Steven says, no Disney Searchlight film come to cinema in March. Seems quick. I think it's a quiet month. The problem is with these Searchlight cinema films is they haven't really announced a lot of them in advance anyway. And I got a feeling that a lot of them are being shifted over to like Disney Plus and Hulu. We're getting Fresh. That's going to be one dropping from Searchlight in a couple of weeks' time. They don't make a lot of money at the box office, but they're probably going to get very small, limited run movies. And also, like here in the UK, I mean, they're still getting like things like The Secret. Was it The Eyes of Tammy Faye? Only literally got released like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we've done that one. No says, please put Star in the US, please. Angry, yeah, definitely. Matt says, I can't wait to all countries have the same content come out at the same time every month. I'd love that. It's so annoying with how Disney are doing their release schedules right now. On one hand, you get everything at the same time. So we're getting, we get the Book of Boba Fett at the same time. And then, like this past week, the Wonderful World or the Wonderful Winter Mickey Mouse one didn't get released in Australia because it's not winter. Or why now is How I Met Your Father being released a couple of months late? It's baffling. Especially when there's no contracts involved. It's very strange. Dana says, I think a Walt Disney Studios hub and a Walt Disney Television hub and FX and an international hub that could house the Hotstar. I definitely feel like I think like a star hub might be a good place to put like a Hotstar underneath of it and within there, rather than maybe giving it they've got to watch how many hubs they've got. To me, I look at the hubs as more like it's a brand. What can you slap that logo on? I don't necessarily think like splitting up Walt Disney Studios and Walt Disney Television. They can just put them under the Disney brand. I think that's a stronger method of just using Disney. I just feel like 20th century FX Searchlight, I think, could fit much more nicely underneath 20th century, but I could see a Searchlight one in there as well. ABC, I don't think Freeform, that could probably just slide under ABC. And then you have like a Star one for everything else. I definitely feel like Star's likely to be something that they add. But also like brands like FX and 20th Century are probably going to be there going, well, if we're on Disney Plus, we want to be the same as the other ones. The Studio Hub could have all of the 20th century stuff. Yes, there's definitely a lot of stuff coming in there. We've just had a super chat. Thank you very much from Lady Jennifer Snow. Thank you very much for your support and for being a YouTube channel member. I'd love to see Disney acquire a small studio for their adult content. I feel like the Hulu merger in Disney Plus is going to happen sooner rather than later, and a small studio's adult content would help. So I think it's funny with like the concept of like being like adult. They've already got 20th Century, they've got FX, they've got 20th Television, they've got 20th Television Animation, they've got ABC, you've got the Freeform, you've got Searchlight Pictures also making TV as well. So they've actually got a lot of studios, but internationally they're just buying up an absolute ton of content. But I could easily see them start picking up some other studios, some smaller ones, just to keep churning out more content because that's what they need. But I think there's going to be a lot more smaller studios being acquired, and especially more international studios. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, where we'll see these kind of things coming in with these small studios that can just produce a lot of content. But again, thank you very much for your support at that level. That is fantastic. Thank you very much for that. It really makes a big difference. Frank says, oh yeah, here we go. He said, I went to the Stars headquarters, and when I went to customer service department over Disney Plus Stars ad, they rolled their eyes, mentioned Disney Plus, meaning they don't care about losing Disney content. Since nobody is subscribing, they still got a lot of subscribers. It's just they're up for sale, so I think like they're it's the future of stars with a Z is probably pretty much of an issue. I feel like Disney Star really didn't help the branding. All the problems in Latin America that they've had. There's a lot of mergers and acquisitions going around right now. There's a lot of consolidation, and I'm sure someone's sniffing around Lionsgate to buy. The trouble is with buying like Stars is, does any of the streaming services need, if they buy it, they've got to try and how easy is it to convert them over to their own streaming service? How many of them are already customers, and how much is the library worth? Because that's the key thing with all of this. Let's see what else we've got here. So Matt says, what country do you want to see international content come from? I mean, I'm quite happy to get content from anywhere, but my one thing is international. It needs to be dubbed. It needs to be available dubbed and subtitled. So if you want to watch it in the original voice, you can do with subtitles. It's also good then for deaf people, so they can follow along, and then for people that are blind, they can watch the dubbed version. But also, like for me, I mean, it's like Snowdrop, because it's subtitled. I just don't have that time to sit there and watch like 20 plus hours of television with subtitles. If it had dubbing, I'd probably put it on in the background. I feel like it's definitely, to me, that's the way that they would do that one. Let's see what else we've got here. Frank says, now that the FX on Hulu library is complete, except for Americans, which is on. Yeah, I mean that I think the FX hub is definitely growing out pretty good. Kayla said, as a Comcast exiting Hulu, it could have been done piecemeal, since both sides would have to benefit from a smooth. They definitely benefit from having a smooth exit, definitely. Knoxwave says, will Disney D23 have a live stream event? They have said there will be live streaming because obviously there was the pandemic and stuff. How they do it? I mean, I wouldn't be at all surprised if something was done in Disney Plus or on YouTube. How much they live stream, it might just be the panels, but definitely expect to see more live streams. Matt says he hopes to have some more ESPN documentaries in the US. I think you've only got like 4 at the minute. I think we're about 40 or 50 here. They kind of slowed down a little bit here in the UK, but just more of this content. Just it's a bit annoying because they put a few on there and then they just stopped. It's like, well, couldn't you like release like one a week just to kind of, if you got 50 of them, just help expand out a little bit that way. Noah says he loves Star Wars and Marvel and Pixar, definitely. Stuart says, do you think Ahsoka will come out in 2023 or late 2020? I don't think it's coming out in 2022. I feel between with Boba Fett, Andor, Bad Batch, and Kenobi, that's enough for this year. Ahsoka will be there. I mean, it won't even be finished filming probably till June or July, so it won't be able to get out. Probably next summer, I would imagine. Tales of the Walking Dead is gone, Disney Plus. I think Disney have only got the Walking Dead, the main series. They haven't got the rights to the other content. I need to watch some of the spin-off series because I've only been watching the main one. But the new episode drops onto Disney Plus tomorrow here in the UK. So as Knoxwell says, have you seen Fear of the Walking Dead or The Walking Dead World Beyond? No, I've not seen either of those series. So what I think I might do is when I finish watching the current season on Disney Plus, I might start jumping in and see them all. Bring the D23 Marvel panel live. Yeah, I don't know about Illuminati. They might do something with that one. Frank says all the Marvel Netflix shows are rated TV MA, so I expect them to come to Hulu because of the general entertainment content on Disney Plus is rated 14 plus. See, it is a very good argument. There's no dispute to me that Hulu makes the most logical sense in terms of going to Hulu, based on everything that we've had over the last 3 years with Disney Plus. My thing is, had Bob Chapek not been talking about adding general content and this general push towards stuff, it's thrown it all in the air for me of like, it's not, and them putting on their movies, and like, I never would have said Snowdrop or other things. There is now it's very unclear of what's going on. We always kind of had quite a clear idea of what was going on and what isn't. That's kind of all blurred now. All those rules that we had for Disney Plus in the US are kind of all breaking, and it's making it very difficult to predict. If they went to Hulu, I would not be at all surprised. I'll be honest, it's a 50-50 shot for me right now. I think it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't do it. I feel like Marvel would be a great way of bringing people in, and having, if you're going to be extending the characters of Daredevil and Kingpin, I mean, if you're going to put it on internationally, you might. I don't know. It's so frustrating. Frank says, "Will Cake season 5 come to Disney Plus in Canada? Have you got the first 4 seasons?" That's the question. I'm sure it will arrive eventually. Canada has been getting a lot of FX content lately, and a lot of surprise drops seem to be filling that in quite nicely. So there's a lot of stuff coming in there. Knoxwave, are you excited for Stranger Things season 4? They have 2 volumes and it's been renewed. I've watched the last 3 seasons. I will watch it, but I think I'm not in it as much as I'm not as excited about it as I once was. But I do think it's good that it's coming to an end. What country do you want to see a Disney Plus original come from? I think it's China, Hong Kong, Japan. There's a lot of like anime and stuff. I think that would be a huge hit. Steven says, I would new Glee series come back over High School Musical. Glee, why? I don't quite know what that one is, Stephen. Sorry. Matt says, when do you think we'll see FX shows on Disney Plus in the US? Ooh. FX is a little bit of a tricky one because if they go softly with Disney Plus in the US with general entertainment, FX content might be a little bit of a push. So that's because it's a little bit more mature, and generally a lot of the FX stuff is like mature TV. So I don't know. But we're definitely seeing a lot more of it. Let's see what else we've got here. No one wants to see a Deadpool franchise on Disney. Yeah, maybe an animated series. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is just way too busy for doing a TV one. Baba says, I see Disney's HBO is FX. I think they've definitely got that. FX is that high quality branding for television. Knoxwave, I remember that FX were working on a Deadpool animated series, but sadly it was cancelled long. Would you like to see this? Yeah, I definitely like seeing it. There's no doubt about it. Deadpool is great. Stuart says, I wish you could filter between the star content and Disney content in the movie section. I find it jarring when you have 101 Dalmatians next to 28 Days Later. I suppose I get what you're seeing, but the thing of you finding it jarring is because you're mentally just keeping them separate. For me, that's more the fact of like when you get in, I think there needs to be more organization within Disney Plus. Some more, so maybe when you go in there into the Disney section, they have like an all movies section or an all television series, so it just brings you all of them up within the hub. Definitely the Disney section needs a lot more like organization, but it's like you say, I mean, I'll bring it up here just so Americans can see what we've got here. So I'm just going to get rid of the questionnaires to it. So like here, as you click on just the movies section, and yeah, like you say, it is a very higgledy-piggledy way of looking at movies, because everything's just an action adventure. I mean, it would be better if it was an A to Z. It would make it a little bit better, but generally, it would be nice just to kind of have a little bit. There's just not enough functionality in terms of searching. Um, like you say, it's a little bit all over the place in terms of what you're seeing, in terms of how they're coming through. Like when you click on the Disney option, maybe it would be like better to have some hubs, some more internal hubs, some main hubs and stuff inside there would be a much better way of doing it. Right. Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes left. Steven said, what come next week to your YouTube channel? Okay, so coming up in the next week, you're going to have the movies. You'll have our Disney Plus news going Monday to Friday. That's my schedule for that one. So every day you get a news update video. And then Sunday, you get the live Q&A. And on Saturday, you get the podcast. So that's my core content. So you get a new video every day. That should be it. I've found that if I do too much content on YouTube, doing them individually, it's just time. It's just having enough time to do it all. So that's the main schedule. We have a new video every day. So you have news. I'll try to cover 3 to 5 stories on the news every day, if there is some. Some days it's more busy than others. So Frank says, why did the FX on Hulu change its name to just FX, even though Hulu is only available in the US? So why change the name? I think it's more of a branding thing. I think they were trying to get maybe disconnect FX and Hulu. FX is now a global brand, so therefore they need to be on Hulu. Again, it's all down to branding. It feels like they're kind of, like you say, separating stuff. Caleb said, I want to see content from India on Disney Plus, not just Hotstar, but a licensing deal with a studio like Eros or Yash Raj Films due to this tape library. It's very strange how everything's taken much longer than I thought it would do with the Hotstar shutdown. Maybe they're holding off a little bit. But yeah, I'm surprised they've not done the Hotstar one. It's definitely why they've not done that one yet. Again, the live streaming might be the issue. Matt says, thank you for all you do. Thank you very much. I mean, like I said, I do try and put as much in as I possibly can, and you guys all respond to it. You know, with how much everyone's watching and reading and stuff, it all makes a big part of it. So it's all of you guys that's doing it. Noel he's heading off. Thank you very much for watching. Baba said, I am Arthur ending tomorrow. I am about Arthur ending tomorrow. Oh, Arthur the series. Yeah. Stephen wants Glee to come back. Yeah. Ryan says, I don't see why the Kingsman franchise can't be on Disney Plus in the UK. It's a 14, right? Let me just check on that one. We've got the Kingsman. So here we go. So the first one it's a 16, so that's why it's not on the US. The second one was a 16, and the third one was a 16 plus. So that's why they're not showing up. And it says, why can't they be? I don't see why Kings can't be on Disney. Well, they are already there, so there's no reason why why you can't see them. But yeah. When will we get FX content in the UK from Tracy? We actually get a lot. We've got a lot of FX content. The trouble is, you just can't find it as like on a brand, because there's actually quite a lot of FX content on here. So it doesn't. I don't think it works like that so much. No, it doesn't. But there is a ton of them. So if we go into the series, I'm just trying to think here which ones are FX. The Premise was one that we had on there. See if we got Thriller. See what we've got here. What We Do in the Shadows was an FX series. I think The Strain was. Legion was FX. I think that was. I think Devs is an FX series. So there is plenty in there. They're just not very. There's not very branded. American Horror Story is FX. Americans is FX. So it's in there. They just don't tend to be branding it. That's kind of how they work that one. Okay, so last few questions. So Stuart says, I'm normally trying to see Star movies and I want to filter it. Yeah, go the other way around. You can do it the other way around. Ryan says hi and bye. Thank you very much. Frank says on Disney Plus in Latin America, Missing Link was added and it has beaten Encanto to being the #1 film, which is now 8. Oh, it's interesting. Interesting to see how that worked. And last question was from Stephen. Any news on NCIS? No, all they said was it was coming this spring. I wish it would come sooner because I know my mum wants to watch it. So there we go. Thank you very much for all of your questions. Thank you very much for everyone for joining in on the live chat. A big sort of hello. I mean, loads of us in there. Great to see so many people all in there. This is what I love doing with on the Sundays is just having our community and being able to talk to you guys. You've been able to ask questions in real time. So lots of stuff. Dana, question there. Do you think Disney and Comcast made a deal to acquire? I think something's happened. I definitely think something's happened. On that note, guys, thank you very much. And I shall see you guys next week. As I said, check out tomorrow. We'll have another video. And as per usual, go check us out over at What's on Disney Plus for all of your latest news. Latest.